Good afternoon, and thank you for attending OTAN's very first Tech Talk. OTAN Tech Talks were designed to give short 30-minute presentations to assist participants with tips on an ed tech tool, strategy, resource, and more. Today's Tech Talk is geared to help us learn strategies to stay safe online as you or your agency build your social media presence on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Today's topics may include account setup, both personal and professional, public versus private posts, privacy settings, photo tagging, and location services. I would like to introduce to you our presenter for today, Carla Frisler, ESL instructor, OTAN trainer, and technology integration expert.
Thank you, Marjorie. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the premier OTAN Tech Talk. I'm Carla Frisler, technology integration expert for OTAN, and today we'll be talking about social media safety tips. This session assumes you already have some experience using social media apps, so today we'll be focusing on how to use these tools safely. The first part will be presentation style. I'll share my knowledge and experience, and you can follow along. I will do my best to answer your questions or at least point you in the direction of valuable resources. Please remember that social media is ever-changing, so none of this is set in stone. Take what I share with you with a grain of salt and use common sense to apply what works for you. Although we will be focusing on the most popular and widely used apps, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, social media can include everything from GPS systems such as Waze to Untapped, social networking for beer lovers, and Shaper to connect with other professionals in your area. This OTAN Tech Talk features tips for staying safe while you build a social media presence. I've divided today's topic into 4 segments: setting up, connecting, sharing, and managing settings. And we'll use examples from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Let's dive in. Setting up. When you first download a social media app, you need to set up an account. You may want to create separate accounts for your professional and personal use. Be aware that some apps do not allow personas or pseudonyms. For example, Facebook wants you to use the name you use in your daily life with your online profile. I recommend using your actual name for your professional account. In my case, I use the phonetic spelling of my last name to differentiate my personal account. If a student, for example, does a search for my actual name, only my professional account will appear in the results. Be sure to use strong passwords comprised of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Avoid using elements that would be easy to guess, such as birth dates, anniversaries, kids' names, or pet names, and never use the dreaded password or 12345 for your password. Another setup consideration is whether you want an account to be public or private. An example of this is on Instagram, which you can see in the graphic on the left. If you have a public account, anyone can follow you without your permission, and anyone can see your posts. With a private account, you must approve follow requests, and you have the power to decline them as well. So your posts are only visible to those you approve to follow you. To change the default from public to private, use your phone app, go to Settings, and then Options, and click on the button to the right to activate a private account. Note that the default for accounts is to be public. Now, let's move on to connecting. The fundamental purpose of social media is connection. This could be connection between individuals or groups, such as relatives, friends, and former classmates, connections between people and organizations, such as potential students and educational institutions, and increasingly, connection between businesses and potential customers, such as Nordstrom and shoe shoppers, for example. We all know how great it feels to receive friend requests and see our number of friends increase. However, the safest strategy is to only connect with people you know. If you don't recognize someone, don't accept his or her request. It could be a fake account or a catfish, which is someone posing as another person online. Examples of catfishing can be found all over dating sites and apps. Have you ever met someone for coffee only to find they look nothing like their dating profile? They might have used someone else's photo to get your attention. That's catfishing. To avoid this, ask the person you're meeting to send you a selfie in advance with specific instructions. For example, hold up 3 fingers or take a picture in front of a specific place and see if they send it right away. If not, you might be getting catfished. In the Twitter sphere, the goal is to get retweeted as much as possible, which requires being connected to many people. This is why I only use Twitter for professional interactions and never post anything of a personal nature there. Now, let's talk about sharing. A rule of thumb for sharing is, don't post anything online you wouldn't want your mother to see. If you wouldn't say or do it in public, don't post it online. When you do post online, consider your audience before you post. Apps like Facebook allow you to customize your settings to restrict who sees your posts. As you can see from the graphic on the right, in Facebook, you have the option to post publicly, or just to your friends, knowing their friends will also see, or to most of your friends with the exception of a few, or perhaps a specific group of your friends, or only yourself. Just remember the next time you go to post, the previous selection will auto-populate, so you may need to change it back. Don't forget that all social media apps have a direct message feature to avoid public posting, so you can send private messages to individuals or groups. For example, in Snapchat, there is a difference between My Story and selecting individual recipients of a snap. You may recall a news story last year in which a model was at the gym and snapped a nude photo of an older woman without the woman's knowledge. She posted it publicly with a caption that read, "If I can't unsee this, then you can't either." After a negative public response via social media, she explained that she intended to send that snap directly to a friend, but mistakenly posted on her story instead. Because she was famous and had many followers, her post went viral. I'm not commenting about the ethics of her case, but just sharing as a cautionary tale about being aware of what you post, where, and to whom. No matter which apps you're using, be careful about oversharing, which includes tagging yourself or others in public locations or posting that you're out of town, especially if you share a public post that anyone could see. You're basically announcing to potential thieves that your house is empty. Remember, when you post online, you're posting to more than just your friends. You're posting to their friends as well. Other things to avoid include playing games and filling out quizzes online that ask for you to share not only your personal information, but give access to that of your friends as well. In general, avoid posting information that shares your phone, address, or relationship status, children's school, etc. Don't make yourself a target for identity theft or burglary, or your kids a target for predators. Now let's talk about customizing your settings. In most apps, social media and otherwise, you will find a cogwheel icon that leads you to the settings for that application. The default settings for all apps will always be as open as possible. Why? Because that's how these companies make their money, by tracking your behavior and selling that information to companies that want to sell you products and services. The more they know about you, the better they can target market to you and hopefully make a sale. The topic of privacy settings has been in the news lately, especially as Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been testifying before Congress about Facebook's business model. Ever wonder how a free app generated $40 billion in revenue last year? Through ad sales, of course. If you want to learn more about how all of that works, watch or read Zuckerberg's testimony. It's fascinating. I've provided a link in the handout that is available to you. Over the years, there have been many rumors about how Facebook and other companies track and sell your information. For example, by using the internal microphone in your phone to relay information to advertisers. Although Zuckerberg denies this, the reality is the more open you are regarding the things you like, where you are going or located, and who you are with, the more you are helping these businesses thrive. Now, don't get me wrong, if you stop liking pages or tagging yourself at events, the advertising isn't going to disappear. It just won't be targeted specifically to your tastes and needs anymore. In fact, these apps will still collect and pass along your data. Advertisers just won't use it to market to you specifically. Of course, this is all being examined by Congress and is subject to change, but without paying substantial subscription fees, we are likely to see data mining for advertising continue. In any app, you, the user, do have some control over the access to your account and information. This is an area called settings. I'm going to walk you through a few examples of popular apps and show you a few settings you might be interested in. Most of these are fairly general and will apply to almost any app. If you're a regular Facebook user, you may have noticed an announcement at the top of your feed recently that encourages you to adjust your settings. Let's take a look at Facebook settings you can customize. To get started, look on the upper right for the triangle pointing downward, and then click on that to open a drop-down menu and choose your settings. First, you'll see General Settings, including one called Legacy Contact, which allows you to designate someone to be in charge of your social media if you pass away. You will also notice a link to download a copy of all your Facebook data. Under Security and Login, scroll down to the middle of the page, and you'll see an option for two-factor authentication. That provides an additional layer of protection by sending you a text message containing a code that you must enter in order to log into your account. Under Privacy Settings, you'll see many settings that you should adjust when you first create an account, such as who can see your post, who can contact you, etc. Now, in Facebook, you might be particularly interested in the section called Ads. Anytime you interact with posts, they are tracked in this area, and ads are subsequently tailored to match your interests and needs. Pay close attention to the section called Your Information. Follow the link to your categories. You will see a lot of very detailed personal information about yourself, your ethnic background or affinity, your political affiliation, and much, much more. To remove these categories, just click. The next time you log in, the deleted categories will be gone. If you scroll below, you will see that you have the option to receive ads based on your use of websites and apps. Just note that turning this off does not mean you will not receive ads. It just means the ads will not be targeted to your specific interests. Now, let's take a look at Instagram settings. Look for the small icon of a person in the upper right corner and click to open your profile. Click on the cogwheel to bring up a menu of options. Click on one of the first three options to get yourself to your settings. From Edit Profile, you can change your name, username, bio, etc. In addition, you can determine whether or not you want your account to be recommended to others. Under Authorized Applications, you can link this account to other social media apps, such as Facebook and Twitter. Hootsuite, as you see here, allows you to send one post to multiple social media apps. In addition, you can adjust your settings for comments, email and texts, and your contacts. Now let's look at the settings for Twitter, many of which are similar to ones we've already seen. To find your settings, click on the small version of your profile picture in the upper right corner. Scroll down to Settings and Privacy. You'll see General Settings, including an option to download your entire Twitter archive of all of your posts. Under Privacy and Safety, you can adjust your settings for photo tagging, direct messages, etc. Under Apps, this is where you can link Twitter to other social media apps. That way, you can post once across more than one app to maximize your time. And lastly, we're going to look at a specific feature in Snapchat that was in the news quite a bit this year. A snap map shows an individual's exact geographic location. You can also see the locations of your friends. You can imagine the implications of an invasive tool like this. While it could be helpful, for example, for monitoring your children's whereabouts, it could also be extremely dangerous if a child unknowingly connects to a predator. It could also cause problems with dating and relationships. To shut off this feature for yourself, you can switch into what is called ghost mode. I've included a link to that video in the handout for this session. And now we are going to look at something called location services. In any app, they want to know where you are, right? And you can change from always to only while using the app. Not only will that help address some privacy issues, but it will also help save your phone battery, because when you're always in location services, the app is always searching for the GPS signal and trying to connect. So we've just scratched the surface here. I definitely recommend going back on your own and exploring your settings for each app further. So let's reflect on what we've learned so far. Social media is a revolutionary set of tools that allows us to connect and share. If used effectively and responsibly, social media can be a tremendous resource. However, if you are not thoughtful about your use of social media, you could create lasting damage to your reputation or others. To summarize the highlights from today's Tech Talk, I recommend that users customize your privacy settings as soon as you download an app. Use strong passwords comprised of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Only connect with people you know. Avoid identity theft. Don't post sensitive personal information online, such as your phone number, home address, financial information, and children's whereabouts. Stop playing games and doing quizzes through social media. They allow access to your friends' information as well as your own. And always remember to log out of social media apps completely when you've finished using them. That wraps things up for the Premier OTAN Tech Talk. I hope you've enjoyed it and that you learned or clarified something today. To get copies of this presentation and handout with links to additional resources, please go to frizteach.weebly.com, or you can also look in the lower left corner of your screen and you'll see all the files listed there. If you'd like to arrange a training tailored for your organization, please contact OTAN directly with a request. If you have questions that were not answered today, or topics you would like to discuss in greater detail, please stay connected and we will use your microphones or the chat pod to continue the conversation about social media safety tips. Thank you for attending. That is the end of this presentation.
Great. Thank you, Carla. A lot of good information there. Thank you all for attending and participating in our first OTAN Tech Talk. We hope you learned something new. We'd also like to encourage you to present at a Tech Talk in the future if you have a tool or tip to share with the field. Our participants want to hear from you, so go ahead and sign up and share. And thank you again from all of us at OTAN.